The night started off like any other, just me in my room, the glow of my computer screen lighting up the darkness. I was deep into an online game with my friends. We were in the middle of an intense match when someone new joined our private game lobby. The username was Watcher47. At first, we thought it was some kind of glitch or a joke, but things got weird fast. "Nice poster on your wall," the first message read. I froze. How could they know that? I glanced at the poster of my favorite band hanging above my bed. No one but my friends had ever been in my room, and they were all just as confused as I was. Then more messages came, each one more personal. "How's the leftover pizza? Did your parents enjoy their trip?" My friends thought it was a prank, but I felt this strange aura, like someone was actually watching me. Then, one by one, my friends started disconnecting from the game, each sending a panic message before going offline. I was left alone in the game with Watcher47. The last message I got before the game crashed was, "Check your window." My heart pounded as I turned to look. Outside, just beyond the porch light's dim glow, a shadowy figure stood. They were staring directly at me. I felt my blood run cold. Suddenly, the power went out, plunging my room into darkness. I heard footsteps outside, slow and deliberate, crunching on the gravel path by my window. I grabbed my phone to call my friends, but there was no signal. I tried the landline, it was dead too. Panic set in as I realized I was completely alone and cut off. I could hear the footsteps circling the house now, moving towards the front door. I rushed to lock it, but just as I reached the handle, I heard it creak open. I darted upstairs and hid under my bed, my heart pounding so loudly I was sure it would give me away. The intruder's footsteps echoed through the hallway, moving methodically from room to room. From my hiding spot, I saw their feet stop at the threshold of my room. They stood there for what felt like an eternity before moving on. As soon as they left, I slipped out and crept towards the attic. I remembered a hidden tunnel that led to an old storm cellar. In the attic, I stumbled across something that made my skin crawl. There were photos of me, taken without my knowledge, dating back weeks. Someone had been stalking me, watching my every move. Just then, my phone buzzed with a new message, "You can't hide forever." The intruder's voice echoed that exact message from below. My heart skipped a beat. I knew I had to move fast. I found the tunnel and crawled through it, ending up in the storm cellar. From there, I could hear more voices. There wasn't just one intruder, there were at least two. I stayed in the storm cellar, trying to stay as quiet as possible. I could hear the intruders searching the house, their footsteps growing more frantic. They knew I was still inside. I held my breath, hoping they wouldn't think to check the storm cellar. Just when I thought I couldn't take it any longer, I saw the headlights of my parents' car pulling into the driveway. The intruders must have seen it too because I heard them sprinting out of the house and into the night. When my parents came inside, I rushed up and hugged them, barely able to get the words out to explain what had happened. They called the police, but by the time they arrived, there was no trace of the intruders. My friends reported similar experiences, but no one knew who Watcher47 was or how they got all our personal information. Even though the immediate danger was over, I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. The photos in the attic and the intruder's voice haunted me. My parents tried to reassure me, but I could tell they were scared too. The next day, trying to return to some sense of normalcy, I booted up my computer and logged back into the game. Everything seemed fine at first, but then a message popped up on my screen, "See you soon." I looked at my laptop's camera, which I always kept covered, but now the cover was gone. I'm not sure what scared me more, the message or the fact that someone had been in my room again without me knowing. Since then, I can't help but feel that strange aura, the sense of being watched, every time I'm alone. And now, every time I look at my window at night, I half expect to see that shadowy figure staring back at me. I still remember the night it all started, like a vivid nightmare I can't shake off. I was in my room, the glow of my computer screen casting eerie shadows on the walls. I was deep into my favorite online multiplayer game, completely focused. The game was intense, my heart pounding with every move I made. Then, out of nowhere, a private message popped up on my screen. It was from an unknown player. "We see you." I chuckled at first, thinking it was a prank. But then, the game started to glitch. The screen flickered, and I heard distorted voices through my headset. At first, I thought my internet was acting up, but it got worse. The game froze, and a message appeared on the screen, "Look outside." Reluctantly, I got up and walked to my window. My room is on the second floor, so I had a good view of the street. Everything looked normal, dark and quiet, until I spotted a figure standing under the streetlight, staring directly at my window. My heart skipped a beat. I couldn't make out any details, but I knew they were watching me. My phone buzzed, pulling me out of my thoughts. I looked down and saw a picture message. It was a photo of me, taken from outside my window. Panic surged through me. Someone was definitely watching me. I closed the blinds quickly, my mind racing. Maybe it was just a cruel joke. Then, my phone rang. It was an unknown number. I hesitated, but curiosity got the better of me. I answered. The voice on the other end was distorted, whispering, "You can't hide from us." I hung up, my hands trembling. I tried to calm myself, but then my computer screen lit up again with another message, "Let's play another game." Suddenly, I heard noises from downstairs. I grabbed the baseball bat I kept under my bed and crept down the stairs, trying to be as quiet as possible. The house was dark, and every creak of the floorboards made my heart pound harder. When I reached the living room, I saw the front door ajar, swinging slightly in the breeze. I stepped outside, gripping the bat tightly, my eyes scanning the darkness for any sign of the intruder. My breath quickened when I heard footsteps behind me. I turned around and saw the same figure from before, now much closer, moving toward me. Fear seized me, and I ran, adrenaline pumping through my veins. I hid in a neighbor's yard, trying to call 911, but my phone had no signal. I could hear the intruder's footsteps getting closer, crunching on the gravel. Pure dread filled me as I realized I might have to face this person alone. The figure stepped into the yard, and in a moment of desperation, I swung the bat. They dodged it easily and whispered, "Game over," before disappearing into the night. The police arrived after a neighbor heard the commotion and called them. They searched the area but found no trace of the intruder. I was relieved but traumatized. My parents, who had arrived shortly after the police, tried to comfort me, but I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. That night, as I lay in bed, my phone buzzed again. A new message, "See you soon." Sleep was impossible. I deleted my online game accounts, changed all my passwords, and installed security cameras around the house. But it didn't end there. I tried to return to my normal routine, but paranoia followed me everywhere. I felt like someone was always watching me. One night, despite all my precautions, my computer turned on by itself. The screen displayed a live feed of me in my room. Sheer terror gripped me. The intruder had hacked into my devices. The screen flickered, showing disturbing images and videos of me from various angles around my house. My parents thought I was being paranoid until they received a threatening letter, detailing personal family information that only someone watching us would know. Fear and urgency spread through my family. We installed a high-end security system and decided to stay with relatives for a few days, hoping to escape the stalker. At my relative's house, I felt a brief sense of relief. Surrounded by family, I thought we were safe. But that night, I noticed familiar signs of being watched. I found a note in my suitcase, "You can't hide from me." Panic spread through the house. We returned home, desperate to catch the stalker. We set up traps and surveillance, waiting for any sign of the intruder. One night, the security alarms went off. My dad and I confronted the masked figure in our yard. They managed to escape, but left behind a phone with disturbing videos of us. The police traced the phone to a disturbed former classmate of mine, obsessed with me for years. They arrested him, but the fear didn't leave me. I still feel watched, every creak and shadow holding the potential of his return. Even after his arrest, I got an anonymous message: "Did you miss me?" The terror isn't over. Every day, I live with the fear that he's still out there, watching, waiting for the next game to begin. I was playing my favorite online game, Night Stalker, when it all started. It was late, around midnight, and the house was quiet. I loved these moments, alone in my room, the soft glow of my computer screen the only light. But that night, something changed. A new player joined the game with the username The Watcher. At first, I didn't think much of it. New players came and went. But this one was different. Instead of following the game's objectives, the Watcher just watched me, trailing my character without saying a word. Then I got a private message: "I see you." Chills ran down my spine. I laughed it off, thinking it was some kind of joke. I replied, "Ha, very funny. Who are you?" No response. The Watcher continued to follow me, never engaging, never playing. Just watching. The next message came a few minutes later: "Your room looks cozy." I froze. My room? How could he know what my room looked like? I glanced around, suddenly feeling exposed. The posters on my wall, the blue bedspread, the cluttered desk, details only someone who was actually here could see. I typed back, "Who's this?" Again, no response. I started to panic. My mind raced through possibilities. Maybe it was a friend playing a prank. But how would they know these details? As I stared at the screen, another message popped up: "Nice try, Zach. I told you, I see you." I jumped up, checking my room, looking for cameras, anything that could explain how this stranger knew so much. Finding nothing, I rushed downstairs to make sure all the doors and windows were locked. Everything was secure. I was alone. Returning to my computer, my heart pounding, I saw the game had glitched. The screen flickered, showing images of my house, my room, my street. These were live feeds. My blood ran cold. Someone was watching me. I grabbed my phone to call my parents, but the line was dead. My cell phone had no signal. I was completely cut off. I tried to message my friends online, but the internet was down. Suddenly, I heard a noise from downstairs. Faint at first, then louder footsteps, slow and deliberate. My breath caught in my throat. Someone was in the house. I grabbed the heaviest thing I could find, a baseball bat, and crept down the stairs. The house was dark, the only light coming from my flashlight. I moved quietly, listening for any sound. The footsteps seemed to be coming from the kitchen. I approached, my heart hammering in my chest. I turned the corner and shined the flashlight into the room. Nothing. The kitchen was empty. But the back door was open, swaying slightly in the breeze. I was sure I had locked it. I closed it, locking it again, and backed out of the kitchen, trying to calm my racing heart. As I turned to go back upstairs, I heard it again, footsteps, this time closer. I spun around, shining the flashlight down the hallway. At the end of the hall, a shadowy figure stood, motionless. My mouth went dry. The figure started walking toward me, slow and steady. I bolted up the stairs, slamming my bedroom door behind me and wedging a chair under the handle. I huddled in the corner, clutching the bat, staring at the door, waiting for it to burst open. The footsteps stopped outside my door. I held my breath, straining to hear. There was a soft knock. "Zach," a voice whispered, "I told you, I see you." I stayed silent, hoping whoever it was would go away. After what felt like an eternity, the footsteps retreated. I didn't move until I was sure the intruder was gone. Then, I cautiously approached my computer. The screen flickered back to life, and the watcher was still in the game. Another message appeared, "Goodbye, Zach. Until next time." I stared at the screen, my mind racing. How did they know so much? How were they watching me? I tore my room apart, looking for cameras, but found nothing. It was as if the whole thing had been a nightmare. The next morning, my parents returned, and everything seemed normal. But I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. I uninstalled the game, but the paranoia lingered. Every sound, every shadow, sent my heart racing. I started avoiding my room, sleeping on the couch, keeping all the lights on at night. My parents thought I was overreacting, but I knew the truth. Someone out there was watching me, waiting. And I never felt safe again.